Guys, welcome back to CHIMICOmics and our CHIMICRISIS episode. This will be the final episode, Final Crisis.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. So our last one was almost 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
We've
but
been
this,
very busy.
This book was big. So yeah, we're gonna talk about everything that happened. I took plenty of notes. I have a black casebook. So
I understand that reference.
yeah, I understood that reference. Anyway, what did you think about the story, and what would you grade it?
Honestly, I think the other parts, like other than the main final battle there at the end, I thought the other parts compared to some of the other series we've done for CHIMICRISIS were a little bit weaker compared to Infinite Crisis and 52. But the side pieces we read that went along with it, Revelations, Batman Rip, those were amazing. Like, I love Batman Rip is one of my favorite Batman stories.
Batman Rip.
What do you want me to call it? Batman R.I.P.?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Well, I can call it Rip.
You actually say Rip?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, Rip.
Yeah.
Man, no.
Rip in peace.
People actually say that.
Yeah, they do.
So what?
From a younger generation.
How would you grade it?
As a grade for the actual Final Crisis,
Yeah, like the whole thing.
all of it, I think the only thing that gives it a 7 to an 8 out of 10 is those side pieces in the final act.
Okay.
There was a lot of cool stuff though. Like, I like Checkmate.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. But the side
That worked
pieces,
out well for me because I just finished Checkmate, the
Mhm.
series, and then went
I need to
straight
read
into
that.
this.
because I'd like it.
Yeah, it continues straight out of
Mhm.
Infinite Crisis, so you'll know what's up with it. For me, I really like the story. Tanner hates Grant Morrison, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so I used to be the exact same way, and the reason is because the first thing I read by him was this, just the 7 issues. Didn't read anything else, and that's
you
really
were
tough.
probably confused.
I mean, someone coming in knowing DC would be confused,
Mhm.
but to top it off, I wasn't that familiar with DC Comics. That was one of the first things I ever read, so that was a terrible thing to do. And I hated Grant Morrison. I was like, this is so stupid, so confusing. But when you have it all together like this, it really starts to make sense. The whole story is fleshed out in other parts, other little one-shots or 2-part story arcs. There's a lot of moving pieces, which you have in any typical event. And if you don't have the extra stuff, you're gonna lose some. You're not gonna grasp what's going on completely. So overall, I would give this a 9 out of 10 total altogether. I think the miniseries, the 7 issues, is really good. It's well written. What I didn't like is, like, toward the end, he kind of left some things open and didn't explain fully a couple things. That's my only gripe, but you're gonna have that with a Grant Morrison comic. So, and to be fair, this is a really big event that he put together, and he had a lot of moving parts. So I can't really fault him for not explaining everything fully, because he's already done a heck of a job as it was.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I really enjoy the story. It's not my favorite Crisis, but it's definitely a really good one, and one that you should read. And I think it's a fitting end to the Crisis format. I don't know if they're gonna actually do another one.
Yeah, where do they go from here? Because
Well,
the villain of this one was Darkseid, and we'll get into that later. But I mean, how do you top Darkseid?
well, I mean, so in DC Comics, they reference other events after this. They don't actually have the word crisis in the title, but they're crises. They're crises. They're just completely different stories than this. There's no, like, red skies and shadow demons and parallel Earths to them usually. but it does have that same kind of feel.
I got you.
So, yeah, technically this is the last one that you'll see like this, but yeah.
Alright, I guess now we're gonna go ahead and throw out the spoiler warning
Yeah.
and get into this.
I got to say, I really hate that DC keeps doing this.
The black cover.
But we do get a cool Omega symbol.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Don't gaze upon it.
It's not the actual equation. I'm not speaking the equation.
Misunderstanding plus selfishness.
I should have wrote down what the
You should
equation
have,
was.
yeah.
I didn't though.
Hold on.
You gonna Google
I'm
it?
gonna Google it.
Alright, while he's Googling, I'm just gonna start off with DC Universe number 0. And when
I don't think I read the whole thing.
It's
in
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't write much about it anyway, so that's probably all you saw is what I wrote. When it came out, it was a quarter, and I think it was 80 pages or something crazy. And that's a super good deal. DC's always been doing stuff like that, so that's good. So the 0 issue, basically all you need to know is there's this guy named Libra, and he's like what was it, like a blue mask and a
Gold
hood,
stuff, like gold and blue
and
suit.
he's holding the scales of justice in his hand, and he's offering power to the different supervillains of the DC universe.
Yes.
He promises them, whatever they want if they will just join him. And then at the last page of this issue, we see the return of Barry Allen. Comes out of the Speed Force, and there he is. So
Yeah, this is the first crisis where it's actually been good for Barry Allen.
yeah, I know.
And most of the times he gets ganked.
It actually turned out pretty well for him.
Flash family finally had a good crisis. Everyone else didn't, but they got off scot-free.
Scot-free. Scot-free, Mr. Miracle.
Yep.
Anyway.
Alright, you want to know the anti-life equation?
Oh, okay.
Loneliness plus alienation plus fear plus despair plus self-worth divided by mockery divided by condemnation divided by misunderstanding times guilt times shame times failure times judgment. N equals Y, where Y equals hope and N equals folly. Love equals lies. Life equals death. Self equals dark side.
Good God.
Anti-life justifies my hate.
Anyway.
We just heralded the destruction of the earth.
No. Then you get 2 issues of Flash. Do you remember? Did you read it all where Jay and Iris were Wally's kids, where they were like aging quickly or something? You didn't get any of that?
No, those weren't in my read list.
I
don't.
Well, I know these issues weren't. I just didn't remember if they actually referenced it at all in other stuff.
If they did, I don't remember it. Probably would if I took notes.
Basically, all you need to know about Wally's kids is because of the Speed Force, they are aging more quickly than a regular human would. They went from babies to like 10-year-olds in just a few months, I think, or something. And now
they grow up so fast.
Now Iris has aged again to like a 16, 17-year-old, something like that. But Jay didn't for some reason. I don't know why. Something triggered her to where she aged. It's not really important. I just thought I would mention it because it sounds cool.
Thank
you. Okay, at this point, I don't think I wrote down what issue this was in. So let me look that up. It came after the Flash. I don't really like the art in the Flash story.
It looks kind of dated. Oh, nipple.
What?
Flash nipple.
Oh my gosh. This might be like Teen Titans or something.
Yeah, that is Scott Robin.
Yeah, so at this point in the story, there's the Dark Side Club, like Dark Side. They spell everything differently to hide them. It's really funny. And then the leader of that is Boss Darkside. He's just like, you know, a mob boss. And he's running a fighting ring, right?
Mhm.
Underground fighting
Mhm.
ring. He kidnaps superheroes,
And makes them fight.
like feeds them. I don't think it was the equation. It was more like some kind of serum that makes them. It's like the anti-life equation, but it's not.
But in serum form.
I guess. I don't really know.
A lot of good those notes are doing.
I didn't write that
I'm
down.
just
It's
kidding.
not really important. Anyway, he's running a fighting ring. The Clock King is in the story, that lame Batman villain, and he
Yeah.
kidnaps the Teen Titans to sell them to the fighting ring. And the leader of that fighting ring is Granny Goodness, which is a New Gods character. She's
Was this before she kind of was cracking?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all before they turn into different people, all that stuff. So they're like not in their god form, they're like people.
Mhm.
So that's why he's like Boss Darkside and all that stuff. Then we get like a flashback issue of. Well, no, that's later on. Hold on. I just wrote down who Libra was so that
Mhm.
it would give you a reference. I think he was a Justice League villain back in the day, and they're like reusing him here.
Okay. Like the Herald
And,
of Darkseid, pretty much.
No, he's nothing to do with Darkseid.
Well, I mean,
He is in the
I'm
story.
Saying, yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
saying he's
saying-
acting like as the Herald of Darkseid.
In the
pretty
story,
much.
but not originally. He has nothing to do with
Yeah,
the New Gods. Or
I understand.
anything.
I'm just saying, in this story, he is acting as the Herald
Well,
of
yes.
Darkseid.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. It's okay, Ratty. It's okay.
Anyway,
Any
Libra assembled the original Injustice Gang.
Justice Gang.
And did you read that one shot of his flashback and like why he assembled the Injustice Gang and like who he is and where he came from?
No.
So that's just some background about Libra.
Mhm.
And then we get into the Batman RIP stuff, which is like the best part of this whole
Yes.
book,
Mhm.
honestly.
Favorite part of the thing.
Yeah, I know. Kinda, not really.
Yeah.
So you remember the Black Case book that I
Yes.
read? And I told you Batman got these powers on this planet.
Zeranar.
Yeah, and he was like Superman on that planet.
Yeah.
Well, now we've established that none of those goofy adventures from back in the day actually happened. They were in his head.
Yeah, he was in a experiment by a Dr. Hurt.
Yep.
Where he was in an isolation chamber that astronauts used to prepare for long space journeys, and he was going to be in there alone for 10 days, and he was trying to think like the Joker, I think was the reason,
Yeah.
and he kind of went off his rocker for a bit and imagined a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah, they were like dreams, I guess.
Mhm.
But anyway, through that, Batman actually creates another personality, I guess, like an emergency
Yeah,
Batman.
in case they get to his head, he has
Yeah.
a backup personality.
So Simon Hurt, his objective was to take away the Batman.
Mhm.
So, like making him useless and defenseless. And Batman's like, haha, I have a backup plan.
As he always does.
Yes. So Batman created another personality for emergencies only, in which he loses his mind and makes a purple Batman costume,
And Batmite's there.
which is so fun.
Yeah.
I don't guess I thought that was worth writing down. Can you get me that stand?
Yes.
It'll make it easier to show people. I'm trying to find that. Well, there he is. Go back some.
Wasn't that it? No. There.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
The Batman of Serenor.
I love this. I think it's really fun.
He's got the red, yellow, and purple suit.
Yeah. And like you said, Batmite is like his voice of reason. That's like the logical part of him that's left. So Simon Hurt leads this group of rich people that love to watch people suffer called the Black Glove.
And there's rich and there's Black Glove rich. They're super duper rich.
And they're really
evil,
messed up.
And they have henchmen.
Yeah.
They're all like different themes. They're like old-timey supervillains.
But where the story gets weird is when Simon Hurt claims to be Thomas Wayne.
Yeah. He's like, I'm your daddy, Batman.
I didn't really care for that part because one, he just sounds crazy. Like he doesn't like try to prove it much.
And he doesn't look like Thomas Wayne either.
I know. That's another thing.
And even at the end, like, you know, he tries to come up with all these like stories to like bring down Thomas and Martha Wayne's reputations. And
he said he faked his death and had Martha killed.
Yeah. And he also had something about Alfred, like saying that pretty much all of the Batman's family were like perverts and criminals.
Yeah, it was
and
weird.
Assassinating their characters. But at the end of it, Alfred's like, we can prove this isn't real. I mean, that guy looks nothing like me at that age. It was probably just something to freak Batman out, like, at the moment.
I guess. Do you remember in previous issues of Batman when it was showing Hurt, like he had him tied up and was making him hallucinate?
Mm-hmm.
So, was he supposed to like get Batman then, or was he just? No, he triggered it then, right? The Zur-En-Arrh thing.
Yeah.
Or I mean the useless Batman thing, like where he just shuts him down. That's when that happened, and then Batman does the Zur-En-Arrh thing, right?
Also, remember the black homeless guy who helps him? That guy looked like the black priest that was like, all hail Darkseid, hallelujah. Oh, yeah. I thought they were the same guy.
What is that guy's name?
Honest something.
Glorious Godfrey.
Glorious Godfrey.
Yeah, that's it. So then we have a showdown at Arkham Asylum.
And guess
who's waiting?
There?
The Joker.
And the Joker is in full form. This is I think this is greater.
This is like that issue that we read that was like prose and was computer generated. You remember that one?
Yeah.
It's exactly the kind of Joker that's in there. He has like an apron on and everything. What were you gonna say?
No, continue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then we find out that Jezebel Jet, Batman's current girlfriend.
Yeah, she knows about Batman.
She's been part of the Black Glove this whole time.
Yeah.
And they were using her to get to him. And
but guess
then
what?
Batman says that he knew that.
Yeah,
anyway.
he knew that the entire time. And she said the whole thing she did that was because she wanted to make him fall in love with her so he would never be able to love again because she betrayed him. And he was like, well, you can thank Alfred's acting lessons for that. I never loved you.
And what they use to, like, knock Batman unconscious is those red and black rose petals. I thought they would have gone, like, more into detail about that, but wasn't that in that Joker issue? Did that happen?
I don't think it happened. No, it was the red and black petals were pretty much harmless, but when they touch, they release like a neurotoxin. Yeah. Was the whole thing. But I don't think that's what happened because Jezebel was sitting in the middle of all that and she was fine.
She was probably inoculated though.
Inoculated?
Yeah.
Is that like they inject her with something to stop that from happening? Oh.
Yeah.
I know a new word now.
Boom, 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 boom.
The more you know.
So Batman gets knocked unconscious, and then they bury him alive in the dirt.
In his Batman suit, because I mean he's been wearing the Zero suit, so
Yeah.
they pretty much give him his
Yeah, they give him the
regular
old suit back. What I love is Batman's like monologue throughout him trying to escape this grave, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know, bench pressing 600 pounds of dirt while it goes into my lungs.
Yeah, he's like, hard, yes.
Not impossible.
He says, very hard, yes, but far from impossible.
Ah.
Night of the Living Dead, just Batman hand shoots through the ground.
It's pinnacle Grant Morrison
Yeah.
Batman. Just he can do anything that he wants to. Yeah, but he was like, he's just going through like, yeah, I've learned how to control my breathing and not panic and stuff. I was like, okay, that's cool. So he escapes, of course, and then you've got like this whole dramatic scene where Hurt is trying to escape on a chopper, and then
Batman
it blows up.
jumps on the chopper, and Hurt's like to the pilot, shake him off. But Batman ain't having that. Also, we forgot to mention about the Joker when he was there. Like, they pitted the Joker against Batman, and they were taking bets, like all the rich men. But then the Joker, like, betrays them. He kills one person of them, because I mean they just don't have any guards on him or anything. But he's like, you know who I want to place a bet? I bet Batman's gonna kick all your asses. and he does, and Joker's like, good on Bats.
Mm-hmm. Joker's crazy, but he's
Yep.
not stupid.
Yep.
So that's the chopper crash, and then we get like, so it jumps from what 681 to 701, and it's like the R.I.P. Lost chapter, and
it picks up right after
it's
chopper
it's
crash.
Batman, you know, swimming.
And it's one other thing I love is Jezebel Jet. She says that we're so rich that the courts and laws can't touch us.
Yep.
And Talia al Ghul and Damien had shown up to try and help things out, and Talia's like, alright, I'm just gonna sick the entire League of Shadows on him then.
Yeah.
Because she's in a private jet, and then you just see man-bats descending.
Yep.
And I was like,
Return of the Man-Bats.
I was like, good on you, Talia. Oh yeah, and Joker, remember he escaped in that ambulance, and Damien was driving the Batmobile and ran him off the road into a bridge.
Yeah, that was funny.
And Alfred's like, yo, Master Damien, that was an ambulance. What was an ambulance?
Let me see if I can find that.
Because you know he didn't know the Joker was in that. He just ran an ambulance off.
Oh no.
Oh, Damien.
What the heck? What were you gonna say about the team coming in, his old team?
Oh yeah, so the Black Glove Society has been gathering up all the members of the Bat Fam they can find, so they get Dick, and Tim is able to elude them, and he needs backup, so he calls in the Knight and the Squire, the Musketeer dude, the Ranger, like that old team from the Casebook story we read a couple months.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
But it's pretty much
yeah.
right before this.
So while this is all happening, a bunch of criminals are taken to the streets because, I mean, Commissioner Gordon and a lot of the police are also tied up at Batman's, Bruce Wayne's
There's
manor.
the ambulance scene.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You think he'll let me keep the Batmobile?
Nope.
No. Anyway, so yeah, Commissioner Gordon is held up at the Wayne Manor because the sombrero has booby-trapped it. And yeah, so they're tied up there, and there's criminals all over the city, and Batman's old team that Tim calls in pretty much handle all that while Batman handles everyone at Arkham.
Yep.
And then everyone's pretty much going there when they handle all the criminals in the city, pretty much the cavalry's coming.
And in that same issue, we see Batman finds the bullet that killed Orion.
Yes, which is what starts this whole thing off. Orion being a god.
Yeah, he's one of the new gods.
Mm-hmm.
So the story of Orion, do you know who he is?
He was pretty much the antithesis to Darkseid, right?
So a long time ago, Highfather and Darkseid, the leaders of their respective kingdoms, they each had a son, and they switched children, like as a peace offering. And so Highfather got Orion, and Darkseid got scot-free, Mr. Miracle. So, like, sometimes in those old comics, you can see Orion's face, like, reverting back to looking a lot like Darkseid, and he tries to hide it. So, he's a good guy, but he was raised, I mean, he's a bad guy, but raised by good people.
Yeah, so
It's a really cool story.
Yeah. You're a bad guy, but that doesn't mean you are a bad guy.
So that's who Orion is. He gets shot in the beginning of the story, and that's what kicks it off. And Batman's investigating it, and pretty early on he knows it's a bullet, even though Alpha Lantern Kraken denies it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Kraken.
But yeah, so we're just going to jump into Final Crisis number 1. After they discover that Orion was murdered,
the Green Lanterns descend upon Earth, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a full-on crime scene. They're like, oh.
The very first page, I like how this like comes full circle, because it starts with Anthro, the first man, and he meets Metron.
Who's one of the monitors?
No, he's one of the new gods.
He's one of the new gods.
Yeah.
Good
So, I got you. I read that whole Jack Kirby omnibus. But yeah, so issue 7, the last issue, will end with Anthro, but we'll get there. And basically, Metron in the story is the one who gave them fire. He's like, I give you knowledge. And they have fire and they start killing each other. Yeah. So, I guess he was kind of like the serpent.
Or
who told Eve to eat the apple.
Or Prometheus from Greek mythology.
Yeah.
I know stuff.
He knows stuff. What have we got going on here? Oh, this is Dan Turpin, finding Orion's body. So we get to see Orion's body, actually. Well, he's actually not even dead yet. He's alive at this point, and then dies.
But he was shot by a bullet. So where is the bullet?
Oh.
Because that's what Kraken's like, well, there's no bullet. How do you know he was shot, Batman? How can you explain that, detective?
We will explain.
Yeah.
So, back to Libra. So, the beginning of the Libra stuff, it starts with Dr. Light and Mirror Master, which, you know, Dr. Light is that pervy guy. I hate that they even use him anymore after that story, but whatever. They find the Mobius chair just sitting there, and they take it to Libra, you know, as you do.
As one does when you find the
with
Mobius
valuable
chair.
things.
Yeah.
And then Libra's trying to prove to all the villains that he's the real deal and he means what he says. So he talks to this loser called the Human Flame.
He wears a fire retardant suit and uses a flamethrower.
Yep. And he's a Martian Manhunter villain, obviously, because Jean is susceptible to fire.
And he wants the Martian Manhunter dead.
Libra brings in Martian Manhunter and freaking kills him right there.
Right out.
Issue 1 of Final
Issue
Crisis.
1, John's.
Let's start with killing the Martian Manhunter.
R.I.P. to my man, Martian Manhunter.
Following that, we get to follow along with Dan Turpin. He's still investigating, like, why Orion was murdered and who killed him. And he visits Boss Darkseid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking for missing kids too.
And he sees some kids affected by the anti-life
Mhm.
equation. And then we get to the monitor stuff. Now, I like the monitor, but this is a really different take on the monitor. So, in this story, after the crisis happened, like the first one, the monitor kind of went away to lick its wounds, so to speak, after all that happened. And to do this, to cope, he divided himself into a race of monitors himself. Created a whole society, and
They call all life germs.
Yeah,
And the life force bleed.
the germs.
They're pretty much vampires.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I didn't like the whole vampire thing, but it worked, I guess.
Yeah.
So throughout all that, you've got, what's his name? I wrote it down.
Yeah, the monitor race. All powerful. And you know when there's an all powerful race that can solve all problems, they ain't gonna do jack
Yeah.
to help anything.
Okay, so I wrote out the whole family tree here.
Wow.
Also,
you lost your place in here.
It's okay. I'll get there. So like the first of the monitor race was named Dax Novu, and he was married to Zilla Vala, and they had a son named Nyx Uoden. And Nyx was banished in issue 1 to Earth. Well, I don't remember why.
I
He,
don't know.
like neglected his responsibilities
Yeah.
or something.
But then other people believe he was like led away and it wasn't his fault for whatever happened.
Yeah. Oh, he was the monitor of Earth 51, which
Yeah.
was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason. That's a pretty good reason, though, if we're being honest.
Remind me, what was Earth 51?
In Superman Beyond,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember when that ship was chasing them? The bad
Yeah.
ship? Okay. Superman hurled that into Earth 51, and they said it was okay because it was already barren.
Yeah, there was no life there.
Yeah, so that happened on Nyx
His
Uoden's
watch.
watch.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's an oof.
Yeah. So banished for a good reason. Along with Dax Novu, the father, later on he found out the truth as to like why they're actually there. They're there to feed on the multiverse, and becomes Mandrak. And they also refer to him as the Dark Monitor. So you've got the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor,
And now
the Dark Monitor.
Monitor. Edgy.
Yeah.
He looks really edgy too.
He's a vampire.
Regular monitors, they're like dudes with dreadlocks. This guy, he's like demon vampire lord.
Yeah, he looks really weird.
Yeah.
He does have cornrows.
Yeah. Yeah, not dreadlocks, cornrows. That was it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's just some info about the monitors. And I think it's a cool concept. And a lot of parts in this story, they like talk about story, like actual story, and how they're all like either like they can exist or not exist at a whim. You know, it's really weird. It's like you're reading a comic about comics. It's really weird stuff.
So we're gonna get into more about the investigation.
I will. With the monitors, they all watch the multiverse, and like it's a weird concept because like they're not in reality as we know it. They're not in the multiverse. They're watching it. So think about like all of the different Earths are in this like capsule thing, and it's called the Orrery. And can you find a picture of that? It's in that first issue.
First Final Crisis issue?
Yeah. So it was like a good chunk into the book, but it's the first issue. And then at the end of that issue, John Jones, who just died, wakes up in a new human body.
Oh god. I was looking, I thought that was Captain America for a second.
No. Cap?
I was like, what?
Did you get to read The Funeral for John Jones?
Yes.
You read that? Okay.
On Mars.
Yeah, I thought that was a really well-written issue, and it was like, it was deserving of what it
Okay,
was.
quick question.
A
Now, who is
memorial.
this guy?
He's,
Major Patriot?
Star Spangled Kid?
Star Spangled Kid?
I think that's right.
Okay. Okay, so rip off DC Captain America here.
I mean, kinda. But, I mean, they're not, like, pushing him, you know? Like, oh, look at this guy.
Look at this guy, he's way better.
That's the Flash stuff, you need to skip
Yeah.
that. And didn't Jean, like, leave, like, a telepathic voicemail for everybody in the Justice League? Like, going over, like, what he did in his lifetime? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that was the thing.
Isn't that what he's doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, go back to the ordering.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for
The Funeral was very well written. It's written by Peter Tomasi, and it's a really touching issue. It highlights every good thing about John Jones, which is a lot of things. He's been the leader of the Justice League before, and they all loved him. And I love how at the very end everybody leaves except Batman, and he leaves a Chaco on Jean's grave, his casket. Yeah, flip back to the council. Yep, so there's the Ori,
yeah.
which I think is beautifully drawn.
Yeah. Who did art for this one?
I think Doug Monkey did this.
Mr. Monkey. Is he good? Like he wasn't discovered to be a Nazi or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank God.
He did a lot of Green Lantern for Jeff Johns. Is that who did this? I feel like it is, but I don't want to say for sure. It looks like him. We'll go with that.
So basically, he monkey.
Yeah, he monkey. Then there's like a story called the Terror Titans, and it's Clock King's team again, who kidnapped the superheroes.
The Teen Titans.
Yeah. But in the story, they established that Darkseid and Granny Goodness both died. I don't know how. They never explain that.
Okay.
They just don't.
They're dead.
I have a theory, like maybe their bodies gave out since they were human bodies.
That's a possibility, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of, because it's never talked about at all. Yeah, it is Star Spangled Kid. It's, yeah. He wins the tournament, but turns out to be Miss Martian instead.
What?
In disguise. You know how she can take different forms? Yeah, it
Yes,
was.
I'm very familiar with Miss Martian.
It was Miss Martian. I'm not really gonna talk about this.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
It's not very relevant. So skipping to Final Crisis number 2, the Super Young Team from Japan.
Yeah, I had no idea who any of them were.
You shouldn't.
Even the name, Super Young Team.
It's, man, Japanese translates so bad in English.
It really does.
I bet it makes sense in Japanese, like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Super Young Team.
Super young.
Super young. They're super young. The Sonny Sumo is in this book.
He was cool.
And he was a character from the Jack Kirby's Fourth World stuff, all the New God stuff. He was there. So I think he knows that the anti-life equation, but never says it because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the plot points from that, is when Darkseid was trying to discover that equation. That's always something that eludes him, is that equation. And it's funny how Sonny Sumo knows it. So, like, Darkseid finally getting the anti-life equation in the story, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those stories were written in, like, the 70s.
Dang.
Yeah.
Took him a while to get around to using it.
Yeah. So Sonny Sumo gets recruited by Mr. Miracle. He's like not actually Mr. Miracle. He's just a regular person, like all the other new gods are. And then it shows Nick Suoden. He's trying to find the word to return him home. He keeps thinking. I think he's looking for the word Taru, which is how the forever people turn into. What's his name? Like Infinity Man. I think it's the Infinity Man. That's also from the Fourth World Omnibus. So there's a lot of call-outs to the Fourth World stuff.
It is Grant Morrison.
Apparently he loves Jack Kirby stuff.
Yeah, he loves just making call-outs and references.
Mm-hmm. Well,
if Tanner was here, he'd say how much he hated that.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like I just love that Grant Morrison loves comics.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's really good. So we got to Turpin interrogating the Mad Hatter, and he's getting really rough with him too. He's pretty brutal in this interrogation. And then he finds out that there's something going down in Bloodhaven. I think he finds out that that's where Darkseid's base is, but I don't remember. And he buys a ticket to Bloodhaven to get there.
Yeah, there's a shade. Because Bloodhaven's like a nuclear wasteland at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened with Shade, and they have a research base there. And the Atomic Knights are patrolling around on Dalmatians that are giant, like horses.
Pony dogs.
Yeah, pony dogs.
Yeah.
And they mentioned to Wonder Woman, they're like, yeah, that research base can do some amazing stuff. That's why we got these pony dogs here. But unfortunately, that research station gets turned into a factory for the evil factories. That's what they're called.
So we're going to cut back to the Libra stuff. Luther, of course, does not trust Libra, as he shouldn't.
Yeah.
And plans to form a team against him with Dr. Sivana, the Shazam villain.
Mm-hmm. Same guy who made the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
52.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Call back to that.
I was thinking that. I was wondering if you remembered
out. That freaked me out. That alligator.
Yep. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That was brutal. Go back to the 52 episode if you missed it.
I loved 52. That was probably my favorite event we've done.
Really? It wasn't even an event though. It was a weekly comic.
I mean, we did it for CHIMICRISIS.
I mean, yeah, but I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I love that one.
Wasn't like a official crisis.
And it was way more stuff to read than this.
This is about the same.
Well, I mean, for me.
Well, for you, yeah. But, so the Green Lanterns are investigating Orion's death because they're the police of space.
It's the sound of the space police.
So leading this investigation is Alpha Lantern Kraken.
No lantern shall escape the Alpha Lanterns.
Yes.
She says that over and over and over again.
We got it.
Yeah, as you can tell, I've been making that joke to Riley a lot.
Yeah.
Much like she did.
And she's like trying to take over the investigation, even though Batman's already doing it. And we know if Batman's leading the investigation, he's going to solve it. So.
Yeah, she's pretty much just a huge jerk to what she sees as the local yokel crime fighting force. Yeah. Which is what she pretty much treats the Justice League.
Well, she calls them like backwater germs or something.
She's like, yeah, we can't even do a proper investigation because this backwater doesn't have the accurate technology. But in Batman 702, though, when it's going over from his point of view, he's like, yeah, we kind of need to update. This forensics equipment is from the 19th century.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, fair point, Kraken.
So Batman declares that Orion was shot, which he was.
Yes.
And then John Stewart finds the bullet. Now the interesting thing about this bullet is when they examine it, it's been buried in the pavement for 50 years. And they find traces of theotoxin, which is radion.
And that's bad for new gods.
Yeah, that kills a god.
Yeah, just get some radion.
And
you got gods trying to diss your homegirl.
While he's examining
Give one of these.
While he's examining the bullet, his ring malfunctions, and he's attacked by an unknown Green Lantern. We don't see. We just see the green stuff flying.
And next thing you know, the Alpha Lanterns are busting in Hal Jordan's room while he's trying to sleep, and they're like,
and they arrest him.
They accuse him of attacking him, but the kicker is he doesn't remember what he was doing when Jon Stewart was attacked. So, and he was taken over before by Parallax.
Yeah, back in the day.
So they're wary.
Affected by Parallax.
They're wary of him. I mean, but. So yeah, that happens. Superman and Batman, they're up on the JSA satellite, and Superman's like, yeah, I gotta go turn in for the Daily Planet, gotta keep my secret identity going. And Batman's like, alright, I'm gonna keep going on this investigation. And Kraken's there, talking to him, and he notices a thing on her palm, and he's like, wait a minute. Continue.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
So she's already arrested Hal, and she's examining. I guess she's gonna take the body or something. I don't know what she's doing to Orion, but Batman does not fall for this for a second. He seals the Justice Hall, and
were they at the Hall of Justice, not the JSA satellite?
No, they weren't. See, you can see it's on Earth there.
Okay.
Oh, so we find out that Alpha Lantern Kraken is possessed by Granny Goodness, and she defeats Batman and captures him and takes him to the other evil new gods.
Yeah, and Dan Turbin is closing in on the evil new gods in his investigations.
And he's talking to that famous TV reverend.
Yeah.
Who turns out to be Glorious Godfrey.
Who is a herald of Darkseid.
He's basically the mouthpiece for Darkseid.
Yeah, in his religion.
So he takes Turpin to their underground facility in Bloodhaven.
Which is that Shade research base that they've taken over.
And you get all kinds of call-outs like Kamandi and Darkseid's son, Kalibak. He's put into the body of a tiger, humanoid, which is funny. And they've got Batman hooked up to this weird-looking machine that has like needles sticking in his head, and he's got a helmet on.
And before he goes, he's calling out to Dan. He's like, "They're coming for us all! Warn the Justice League! Warn everyone!"
But what Godfrey is telling Turpin is he's alluding to the fact that he is going to be the vessel for Darkseid.
Yeah. He wants the Darkseid to inherit his body.
And a crazy scene here.
Yeah.
So is that Clayface? I'm guessing that's the only thing I can think of that would be.
Probably, yeah.
Not relevant anyway.
Yeah.
Clark and Lois, they're at the Daily Planet doing work, and the planet blows up.
Yeah.
Like just random explosion. We don't see what happened to Lois, so it makes you think that she died. And Superman is, of course, just laying there on the ground, because it can't hurt him.
And he's calling out for Lois, trying to find her.
It's kind of like that scene in Batman vs. Superman when the courtroom blows up. He's just standing there.
Yeah. You know what he should have done when that happened? He should have flown in reverse time.
Oh yeah.
And then he would have been like, "This man has a bomb in his chair."
Haven't we seen this before? All right, so now we get to the good stuff, the Flash stuff.
And I was confused there, so take it away.
Were you?
Just a tad bit. Just all the Speed Force stuff.
Yeah, it gets
And you took notes.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey
stuff.
Yeah. So Wally West and Jay Garrick are investigating. All right, so Wally is going off of Batman's theory that a bullet was fired back in time. That explains how the bullet was there for 50 years in the ground. So Batman already has the right idea here. He knows exactly what happened.
The world's greatest detective.
Yeah, for real. And so while he's explaining that concept to Jay, he's like, imagine a bullet fired backwards through time. And what they're investigating is the epicenter of that bullet entering the present day. He says it left like a seismic pulse or something. And so they're going to find where the bullet came out to hit Orion. And they find the Mobius chair sitting there. I don't know how that works because didn't Libra have it?
Yeah, Libra had the Mobius chair.
Yeah.
Because when you find the Mobius chair, you give it to Libra.
Mm-hmm.
This one does.
Didn't Wally and Jay run back in time to do this though?
I think so.
Cause like,
And that's where they found.
Cause Barry shoots out.
Yeah.
Being chased by the black racer and chasing that bullet.
Yeah, he's run.
So they're back in time. They went back to right before Orion was shot. And yeah, this is again it ends with Barry Allen. But he's being chased by the black racer, which is another New Gods character.
My name is Barry Allen. I'm the fastest man alive.
The black racer is death.
Yeah.
He's a personification of death.
So Barry is outrunning death right now, literally.
So we're gonna skip. There's some cool stuff about inertia here, which used to be like a Kid Flash, like an evil one.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was kind of lame, but
Give him the cool name, Inertia.
oh well. Anyway, what you can get from that is Zoom, which is a Flash villain, was supposed to be the messenger of Darkseid, like Hermes, you know,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. But he is defeated and loses his powers, and so he's crippled. He's like in a wheelchair. So that would have been cool if he was like, you know, serving Darkseid, but it never happened because of that whole thing. So Final Crisis number 3 was a good issue, if I remember right.
Yeah.
A man is found mummified by Shade and Frankenstein. I don't remember what that's about.
I think it wasn't related to anything. to
Was
be
it
honest.
not?
No, they were just like, well, not every day you find a man mummified.
Well, that's true.
And then they just went on with the rest of the story.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. And then a German superhero falls from the sky.
Yep. Isn't that the one who was from the Earth
Uh-huh.
that the Nazis won World War II?
Yep.
Because Superman's ship does not crash
It
land
landed
in
in
Kentucky.
Germany,
It lands
yeah.
in Germany, and they take the technology of that and pretty much steamroll the Allies. Pretty much Wolfenstein happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
And later on, Supergirl, she's like hardcore Nazi, apparently. Renee Montoya meets her and is like, you know, I thought your cousin was cute until I saw that Nazi armband.
Then you see like Libra's been kind of pushing the human flame along this whole time, and he eventually feeds him the anti-life equation.
Yeah, which is
Puts that helmet on.
yeah,
and
put
stuff.
these helmets, and that's how they convert
Yep.
people.
Really evil.
They got to Uncle Sam.
So you remember Lois got blown up?
Yeah,
Well, she's alive, but barely. She's
yeah.
in the
Superman's
hospital.
keeping her alive with one of his powers.
His heat vision is massaging her heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's an organ massage.
then a mysterious woman offers to save her,
Yeah.
and we know that that's Zilla Vala,
hmm
right? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, one of the monitors.
The monitor, the wife of the lead monitor. So that will wrap up in Superman Beyond, which we'll get to.
And then We see Kraken and the
Hal's
elves.
taken for judgment at Oa.
And that's not gonna be wrapped up for a good bit.
Yeah, that'll be the
Yeah.
end.
So mark that on your calendars.
Meanwhile, you know how Alan Scott, Green Lantern,
Is only a Green Lantern in name.
right?
Yeah.
He used to be the head of Checkmate, like the White King of Checkmate. So he's like talking about this Article X that the president put into effect when the JSA was around.
Yeah, in World War II,
which is like a superhero draft.
Yeah. And so he does that.
He does that. He gets a whole crowd of people to help. Let's see, there they are. So that's all the superheroes that responded. They're serving their country.
Yep. Hoorah. You got Huntress, Jay, Red Tornado's in there, there's Nightwing, Panther, Ollie, Canary.
Okay.
That's
Then we got the Sonny Sumo and Mr. Miracle again.
Mhm.
They're about to get on a plane, he gets blown up, and then they get attacked by people affected by the anti-life equation. So
and the
Gets
super
saved.
young team.
the super young team saves them. Then we've got Wonder Woman.
She's visiting Bloodhaven.
Yep.
And she's talking to like some civilians who've been displaced by the disaster there. And she's got to go inside the place. So she's getting escorted by some Atomic Knights on their Dalmatian ponies. And she's like talking with them. They're like, well, this is a great honor. And then they see like some of the violence that's happening there. They're like, well, Wonder Woman, have you ever seen a person turned inside out? Unfortunately, yes, I have.
Jeez.
Yeah. This is DC.
And then we find that Mary Marvel has been turned evil
by the Anti-Life.
Um,
and she has gotten some work done.
Yeah, her hair is really freaking me out.
Yeah. It's like fire sometimes, and like the top of it's shaved sometimes. Yeah. It's weird.
You know how she says the magic word Shazam and she gets her powers? Well, she has another word to get this way. So I don't know what it is. They never say it. They have a cool fight. But she defeats Wonder Woman and gives her that Omega disease thing. And yeah, guts there.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman's converted, and the anti-life equation is going live on every, like across the internet, every phone, every GPS, every TV station, everywhere has the anti-life equation broadcasting live. And Oracle Barbara Gordon is like, she pretty much cuts the plug on the entire internet.
Yep. Unplug the internet.
Because she only sees like a second of it, and she's already like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta get this off.
And Mockery is the one who sent that out. You've got Mockery and Simeon. They're like two scientists that work for Darkseid. Then we've got more of the Flash stuff. Wally and Barry are running together, and Wally's just like, hey, let's take a minute and celebrate the fact that you're back.
Yeah.
You know, like, you've been gone for so long. He's like, yeah, you're right.
And we still have the rest of a crisis to get through, and as you know the history of those.
They run a few weeks into the future, so they get to see
what happens to the Earth.
Wonder Woman, Batwoman, Giganta, and Catwoman. They're all
converted.
They're all affected, and they're on their
they're corrupted pony pit bulls.
Which, man, Grant Morrison knows how to sell comic books.
Yeah.
If this didn't have you wanting to buy the next issue, there's nothing for you. So they're like the female Furies of this.
So next is, after issue 3, we got...
I'll talk about this briefly because I like Brad Meltzer. It really has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on, but I just want to mention it.
Okay.
So Geoforce, his name is Brian. goes after Deathstroke and defeats him.
Okay, yeah, that does sound cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really. I'll show you like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So Deathstroke, you know, from the Teen Titans movie, that Deathstroke used Terra to infiltrate the Titans. That's his sister.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's really mad about that.
Understandable.
Yeah. And the whole time he's like contemplating, like, I really want to kill this guy, and he's talking to Black Lightning about it. And he's like, I know I'm a good guy, but I want to kill him. So they have this cool showdown, and like cut to the end, like Deathstroke's obviously beating him. He throws swords through his thighs and sticks him into a dumpster. And he's like, Geoforce, you're an idiot. Your powers are Earth-based, and you're meeting me in the middle of a city. Why would you not go to a mountain or something? And why would you meet me here? And he's like, well, that's because this is where you lost.
Oh yeah. When the JSA, like Ollie and all of them, took him on, and he almost beat all of them.
No, not that.
No, not that.
It's to do with his son. His son was killed by some people that I don't think it really says, but a long time ago, his little kid got his throat slit by these people that had a beef with him.
Oh.
And so that's where Geoforce chose to do this. It's super cruel. But he's standing there stuck to a dumpster, and he's all like sad about, you know, I couldn't even beat Deathstroke, you know, I couldn't avenge my sister and all that stuff. He takes the sword out of his leg, slits his own throat. He's about to die, and when Deathstroke, because Deathstroke wanted him to be his new Terra, he wanted to use him too. And he's like, no, you're not going to get to do that. Kills himself. But Deathstroke's like, you can't do that to me. And he gets in closer, and he says, I still have your sword. What? Stabs Deathstroke.
Does that kill him? Because, I mean, doesn't he have a healing?
I mean, it looks like he's dead. But, Brian turns out to live through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can just slit your own throat and
Yeah.
live, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Weirder things have happened.
But anyway, I just thought I'd mention it because it's pretty cool. I like the Outsiders and all that stuff. So now we get to Superman Beyond. This story is really funky.
Yeah.
It's really out there.
This is the Imperial Japan
Yes.
cover of Superman.
He
He will take the Pacific.
This is where Grant Morrison gets really Grant Morrison-y. Like, even more so than R.I.P., I think.
Tanner would be revving up his flamethrower to burn it.
Yeah, he would really not like the
Yeah.
story, but I thought it was fun. It's so ridiculous and comic booky. It's so crazy and out there. You would
Limbo!
never. Yeah. You would never see this in anywhere but a comic book. They
No.
would never make a movie about this or anything.
Hey guys, we're gonna make a movie on Superman Beyond 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Superman's gonna have 4D vision.
Yeah.
I'm sold. Let's do it. So back to that mysterious woman that offers to save Lois. She, like we said, she's the wife of the first Monitor. And she asks for Superman's help to save the multiverse. So that's her plan. She's planning to stop all this bad stuff, the crisis from happening, and she wants to save it. You know, she sounds like the Monitor.
Mm-hmm. And how did that end for the Monitor?
Oh, man. But she offers a universal medicine to save Lois, which is the bleed.
The bleed cannot be contained.
No,
No.
it can't even enter our reality.
Yeah.
It's outside of it.
But how's he gonna do it? How's he gonna get it to Lois?
Aren't the different multiverses in bleed? Aren't they like in the bleed?
Maybe.
I think.
No, there aren't.
Something like that.
Maybe.
It's like our Earths are the crackers and the bleed is the tomato soup. Kinda. Yeah,
I get you.
it's like that. She shows Superman her cool ship, which is the Ultima Thule,
The Ultima Thule.
and it's like, isn't it like music based or something?
Yes.
It looks like a flute or
Yeah.
something. I don't know what Grant Morrison's thing about music is, but it's powered by her blood or something. It's tied to her genetically some way, and she has to be okay for it to run. But in the reality that she's taking him to, well, it's not really a reality. It's like they're existing in between realities. They keep phasing in and out of different
Earth
universes.
Yeah.
So he has to. His eyes have to adjust to 4D vision.
Yeah. He's like going through all his vision modes, and then he's like, she was right. I have to shift into 4D.
By the way,
vision.
Grant Morrison, can we get a pair of 4D glasses?
Yeah.
Like, that would be cool.
Go ahead and invent that, because I mean 3D's kind of.
Oh, there he is.
No one.
See his eyes? One gets red and one
Yeah.
gets green.
Yeah, 3D's kind of not worth it anymore. Do you ever go to the movies and get
No,
the 3D?
never. Gosh.
Yeah.
It costs too much.
Yeah.
And it's not even that great.
No, it's not.
But yeah,
it's double bad for me because I have actual glasses, so
I
it's
know.
either I take off my
That's not
glasses
good.
or wear 3D glasses over, and it just ain't good. That ain't it, Chief.
They should make 3D pop-on lenses.
No,
for
they
you.
should make 3D contacts. Let me just put these in.
Here's your 3D contacts. Oh, well, thank you. What?
Come in the liquid.
They have to provide the liquid for it. Anyway, they're getting chased by this ship called the Destroyer, so it's like an epic Pirates of the Caribbean ship chase. For real. That's the music I would play to this. And they're phasing in and out of different universes, like I said. And Superman throws it into that Earth 51 we were talking about, where
it's all dead.
Yeah.
Right? No,
Nothing's
one's
left. It's safe to just throw it there. Then their ship crashes and is stranded in limbo. And there's this lunatic called the Merry Man.
He's the king of limbo.
He's the self-declared king of limbo.
Limbo is where you go when everyone forgets about you, and only nothing can happen there.
I didn't know Merry Man was a thing.
Yeah,
I
see?
guess he is.
Grant Morrison probably found the most obscure character he possibly could that no one would know.
I guess.
It's old Grant Morrison for you.
So, the whole thing with limbo is like they all forget who they are and like they don't have like any drive or purpose, and they're like, nothing ever happens in limbo. What are you doing? What? Because like Superman's actually wanting to do stuff,
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
like,
like, no,
You can't do that.
you can't change things.
And he goes into the library of limbo.
Which is a cool library, by the way.
But
it
there's-
reminds me of that one from Doctor Who. Do you remember that
Yes,
library?
the planet, the one that where the entire planet's a library.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Hey, who turned out the lights? Hey.
And they discover this book that no one can read.
Yeah, it's the only book in there. Like,
Yeah.
no one can read it.
Merry Man's like, no one can read this book, so...
I mean, why bother?
But Superman discovers that it's every possible book
Yeah.
in one page. In one
And
page.
guess how you can read it? 4D.
In 4D.
Vision.
So, you can imagine the weight of every book possible. So Superman and Shazam
Ultraman.
are trying to lift it.
Didn't Ultraman?
I think he did after, but wasn't him and Shazam the ones that...
I think so.
I think they were.
And then Merry Man kind of like pushes him off. He's like, guys, stop doing stuff.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then we discover that Zilla Vala is a cosmic vampire.
All the monitors are. They pretty much just leech off of the multiverse.
She, so Overman, which is the Nazi Superman, he offered her...
Is he a Nazi? He's kind of guilty over that.
I mean, you know what I mean. I'm
Yeah.
just...
He's from the Nazi
You know
world.
who I'm talking about,
His cousin's totally into Nazism.
Yeah, no. He offers her some of his blood to power the ship because that's what they need. They're stranded and they need to get out of there. Right quick, these are really big concepts, so I'm gonna like lay it out.
Lay it out for us, fam.
So, in the mind of the Monitor, it's called the Overvoid. And basically, what you need to understand is that everything around us, we are in the mind of the Monitor. Like, he's not so much a being as much as he is a presence. Right? So, when they're talking about story and everything, it's like he's the writer. See what I mean? I think it makes sense that way.
There's so many god concepts in DC.
I know, man.
Like the Spectre, they have like actual Christian god.
Well, he's like the just one of God's tools, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've already established that the race of the Monitors is a story made up by the Monitor.
Yeah.
And the multiverse is inside the Monitor. And they also mentioned that Mandrake, which is the evil, the Dark Monitor, he is a living story. The whole race of the Monitors is.
Mm-hmm.
So, just so you get in the right frame of mind for that. Then in issue 2, Ultraman, which is like the evil Superman, he's from Earth 3. I don't know if he's Earth 3 at this point in DC, but he's the evil.
He's evil.
The evil universe.
His suit looks weird because there's no red on it, so I mean it's just totally blue, like all the way down to his feet.
It is kind of strange.
It's like
see
pajamas.
if you can find a picture of that. It should be pretty close. Just cut to issue 2. Ultraman.
Yeah, right there.
Ultraman reads the book. The Book of Limbo. We'll call it.
The Book of Limbo.
The Book of Limbo.
Hello.
So he reads it and he sees the end and says, Mandrake is coming.
And I'm gonna help him.
He does eventually.
Yeah.
Captain Atom.
So.
Oh, the other Superman, like the really intelligent one.
Yeah.
He discovers. So this whole team is like different versions of
This
Superman.
guy reminded me of Dr. Manhattan from X-Men stuff.
Yeah. X-Men.
Isn't that what he's from?
He's from Watchmen.
Oh, Watchmen.
Yep. But he is a lot like that. Yeah. He discovers how to activate Nobu's thought robot.
Yeah.
By fusing symmetries, Ultraman and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say? That they're not parallels, they're more like symmetries or something. Or they're not variations.
Like he's going through all these like concepts and stuff, like super intelligent.
Yeah, like it's really over the top stuff.
Yeah.
And basically he's using Ultraman and Superman because they're opposites. And they mentioned this several times that Ultraman is antimatter and Superman is matter, and if they touch, they'll blow up. Like, an explosion will happen. So
that would be anything, like just actual physics and stuff here. Anything antimatter collides with, that it should annihilate.
Yeah.
So basically, if he's existing on a plane of matter, he should be.
But he's not.
Yeah.
They're like in limbo.
Yeah, but I mean, what about the time before he was in limbo? Grant Morrison!
That's right. Just don't think about it too hard and you'll enjoy it. So basically, the whole Monitor race, they're cosmic vampires, and the multiverse is being drained by them. Mandrake holds the elixir, which is...
what Superman came for.
What Superman wants, to save Lois. Superman defeats Mandrake the first time and flies out. He punches Mandrake and he flies out into the Overvoid and he's forgotten. So I don't know how he comes back if he's forgotten or whatever. I guess it is the mind of the Monitor. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's just like,
Man. So like, Oh yeah, we need to talk about like the whole Superman robot thing, because like, uh, when the Monitor went through all that stuff at Crisis on Infinite Earths, he created this like protector of the race in a Superman robot, and so Superman and Ultraman fuse together and become that. It's like a souped up weapon. He's like becoming a Megazord. For the big
Power
fight.
Ranger.
It's exactly what that is. So they defeat Mandrake and they unfuse.
What's funny though is Miracle Man, the self-proclaimed king of Limbo.
Merry Man?
Yeah, Merry Man, not Miracle Man.
There's a lot of names.
Yeah, there's
here.
a lot of names, sorry. But like, he's like, nothing ever happens, but then Mandrake shows up and he's like, screw this, and he whips out this big old laser gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, Limbo goes to war.
Yeah, that was funny. So they're floating back to the multiverse now, and so Superman discovers that he can't take the bleed with him because it can't enter the multiverse. And this guy named Roxogama, which is like a follower of Mandrake, he makes Ultraman into a vampire.
Yeah.
So that will come into play at the end of the story. So then at the end, Superman actually did manage to sneak some bleed out in his mouth.
In his mouth.
Because he's Superman.
Yeah.
He can do that.
He can do it.
Yeah, he can do that. And gives her the kiss of life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
sweet.
Oh, sweet.
You didn't read Legion of Three Worlds, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Basically, it's a cool Legion story. You know the Legion of Superheroes?
Yes.
Like the future Teen Titans,
Yes.
kind of. Same thing. They're inspired by Superman. That's why they're a thing. And back in the old comics, they, like Superman, when he was Superboy, I guess, went into the future, to the 30th century, and teamed up with them. So they got to play with their inspiration, while he was a boy. Yeah, it was cool. But this is the return. Yeah, you probably should have read this. It's cool. The return of Superboy Prime.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
All right. So this guy called the Time Trapper. He's just a mysterious figure in a pink hood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You won't find out who he is until the end, but he basically snatches Superboy out of a moment in time and throws him into this moment. So you know how like he was destroyed in Infinite Crisis and all that stuff.
Wait. Let me guess who it is.
You're not gonna guess. I promise.
Starts with a P.
No.
The guy who was like doomed to watch all the worlds destroyed.
Oh, Pariah.
Pariah.
That's who I thought at first, but I was like, that's not Pariah.
Darn. He was awesome.
He looks like Pariah though.
I like Pariah.
Me too. I wish they'd bring him back.
Yeah. DC, if you're watching this, bring back Pariah.
So, let me see. So Superboy Prime ends up in the future, and he is hurled into this like Superman museum. They have a Superman museum at that point. And it's like an exhibit of all his famous villains and stuff.
And he's in there?
No, he's not.
Oh.
He's not in there. That's
That
why he
pisses
gets
him
mad.
off.
Yes. He's like, what do you mean? I was a great villain.
I was part of the largest crisis.
He finds his mannequin thing in the like janitor closet or whatever, just collecting dust. It's so funny. And like there's a not robot, what do you call it? Like an AI.
Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen following around, and he's the one giving the tour. He's a tour guide. And he's like talking about how, oh yeah, that loser, no one cares about him. Let's go talk about someone else. And he's like,
here's Lex Luthor.
yeah. No, like he names really lame Superman villains over him.
Really?
Which is funny.
Hey, like?
Yeah.
Like?
I don't remember who.
You don't have to name it.
I didn't write that down. But he gets mad and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna free all the villains in the prison planet.
There's a planet.
There's a prison planet. Yes.
You will rue the day you didn't put
You're
me in this
right.
museum.
So yeah, frees the Legion of Supervillains. Then Brainiac 5, which is like the team leader kind of
Mhm.
of the Legion of Superheroes. He's a good Brainiac.
Yeah, I figured.
He brings in the Legion from another Earth, and I think he brings in 2 from different Earths.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like, that's why it's called the Legion of Three Worlds. They all team up. Ron Vidar, I don't remember. He's a Green Lantern that time. He's the 2814 Green Lantern in the 30th century. So he gets killed.
Oof.
And 2 of the Legion take his body to Oa, the home of the Green Lanterns. And they find the last Guardian, Sodom Yat. And Sodom Yat, in like current time, is a Green Lantern. And apparently he's the last of them.
Whoa.
Yeah. So.
Oof, for the Green Lantern Corps.
The cousin of Bart Allen, the Kid Flash.
Mm-hmm.
You know Kid Flash.
Yes.
She is also fast, and she runs on the cosmic treadmill to bring back her cousin.
The cosmic treadmill.
Yeah. So when I
forgot about that thing.
Yeah. When I didn't talk about inertia and all that stuff from the Flash story, basically what you need to know from that is that inertia killed Kid Flash. All right. So she's bringing him back from a different time into the 30th century. So like he's back, and so is later on Superboy Connor, the guy with the black T-shirt. He'll be back too.
Ooh, good.
So they're bringing back 2 characters of this little 5-issue story. I think it's written by Jeff Johns, and drawn by George Perez. So he got to do some work there. That was cool. He's perfect for that kind of stuff too. So they send a team back in time to the 20th century with, they're going to find Lex Luthor, and they're like, what's so significant about this day? And he's like, this is the day that Lex Luthor starts losing his hair. So they pluck a hair from Lex Luthor and go back to the 30th century with that hair. It's so weird.
Wow.
And they revive Superboy with a hair from Lex Luthor, because he's made from Lex Luthor's genes.
Yeah.
Right. So, Time Trapper reveals himself. You got another guess who it might be? It's so crazy, I don't know if you could even guess it.
Would I know them?
Yeah.
Is it Lex Luthor?
No.
Is it... I don't know.
It's Superboy Prime from the
Whoa.
future. He's like a grown-up Superboy Prime. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
Is he still a villain at that time?
Oh, totally. I mean, that's why he hurled Superboy Prime into the future. Like, he wanted to, mess things up. But Superboy Prime doesn't want to listen to an old man. He's that stubborn. He won't even listen to himself. And he punches Time Trapper, which is not good because they're the same person.
Yeah.
And they both dematerialize. And so Superboy Prime, because of that punch, gets launched into the past on Earth Prime. So you know how his world got destroyed before Crisis on Infinite Earths. Or, during it, I guess. But he ends up back home. His whole family's alive. And he's sitting there, and they're like, we know what you did, son. And it's so cool, because you know how he's, from our Earth.
Yeah.
And he's reading about comic characters. Okay. Let me see if I can find that page. His family read that comic that he was just in. And they're like, we know what you did, and we're so disappointed. It's so cool. I think it's right before this.
Jeff Johns just crapping on Superboy Prime.
Oh man,
this entire
great.
story.
All right, so I'll let you see this page.
Yep.
So, and like I said, because of this, Connor and Bart are both back on the Teen Titans, so that's a good thing for DC continuity at that point. And so, yeah, Superboy is just reading that issue that he was just in. You flip the page,
Mm.
and they're like all scared of him because of what they read that he did. And he's afraid that people are gonna forget him, right? So, like,
I love
because
how his shirt is like the bleeding
Yeah.
Superman symbol,
um
and
because
he's on the DC Universe site.
because of this whole thing, Superboy Prime is back, and they can use him again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's cool. Did you read Final Crisis Secret Files, where we get the origin of Libra and all that?
Mhm.
Okay, you wanna go over that?
What?
You said but you didn't.
It was. I heard Libra.
Did you read the origin issue of Libra? Like,
No.
we find out like why he did everything, and really, you didn't read it? Okay.
That wasn't on my read list, Chief.
You're right, it probably wasn't. So, what you need to know about Libra is he's a dude. He's just a regular guy.
Yeah.
But his name is Justin Valentine. And he had a rough childhood. His mother died at a young age. And his father, turned to the bottle and because of that, and beat him.
Yeah.
And one night he was up on the roof stumbling around with a bottle in his hand and was about to try to grab him or hit him or something. And Justin moved out of the way.
And he
fell off the
the
roof.
roof and killed himself.
Yeah. Splat. But after that, he grew up and went to Opal University, and he wanted to go to this particular university because there was a professor there by the name of Ted Knight, who is Starman, the old superhero. And he wanted to learn how he could be like him, So one night he breaks into his office and copies the blueprints for the cosmic rod, which is like his scepter thing that he uses.
He uses for his powers.
And then after that, shortly, Libra is approached by a man offering him a satellite and a laboratory to do his research. Because, like, his goal is to make a machine that will let him absorb the energy of the stars. And we're later told that mysterious man is Glorious Godfrey. So he's trying to recruit him for Darkseid, obviously. So when he gets the satellite and all that stuff, Libra brings together villains to form the Injustice Gang of the world.
Not
Cool stuff.
Not very good names.
It's an old name though. Like
Okay.
it's playing off the old comic
Okay.
stuff. So Libra uses them to capture the Justice League of America. And when the minions, the villains, I'm just gonna call them minions because that's pretty much what they are.
Yeah.
They get close to them, push their communicators that Libra gave them, and those siphon off half of the JLA's powers and gives them to Libra. So that's like his whole balancing and scales thing. He gets half their powers. So you got one guy who has half the powers of all the Justice League versus the Justice League half powered. I think that guy wins.
That's he gonna win.
So he calls this device the Energy Transmortifier. Oh, it's so great. So he used it on the superheroes because he wanted to test it before, like absorbing all of the stars into his body.
Yeah.
So pretty good idea, I would say. But that's his ultimate
If he
goal.
absorbed all the stars, he'd be more powerful than Darkseid.
He wants to absorb half the energy in the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang, man.
But when he did this, he absorbed half the energy. He became so powerful that he was like flooded with ideas and like he couldn't decide what to do. faced with too many eventualities and stuff. So then he just disappeared. He like ceased being.
What?
Yeah, like his body couldn't contain all that power, so he like dissolved into a consciousness.
Like Avengers Infinity War snap?
Not quite. Like he's still around, he just not in a physical form.
Okay.
Um,
Then how did he get back for?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Okay.
He is found by Metron and Desaad. Desaad is like this. He's like a servant of Darkseid.
Mhm.
He's really annoying though. On Apocalypse, which is where they are.
Apocalypse.
And the really crazy thing about him ending up on Apocalypse is that nobody has ever gotten there without using a boom tube, a mother box.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's ever done that. So he just got there. Yeah. So that was cool. So that's why they're impressed by him. They're like, hey, this guy's a real deal. You know,
He knows what he's
made it to
doing.
Apocalypse. So Darkseid takes him in and sends him to Earth to serve him. And he seems pretty loyal, like without question, because he's a pretty evil dude.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. So that's the origins of Libra in this story. I think it was a pretty cool issue.
Yeah.
It added to it. Now we got Revelations,
Which
Wyatt liked.
I liked. It was Spectre. It was the Mercy,
Yeah.
Spirit of Mercy,
Spirit of Mercy.
and my personal favorite,
Renee
Montoya. The Question. I love always the question puns too. That's a question, isn't it?
Yeah, too bad she's a lesbian though. You can't like.
I know.
Oh.
Hey, she's got a thing going with Kate Kane, and that's
Yep.
that's okay with me.
So basically, he monkey. This is all about the Spectre, and he's
Mhm.
like, you know, I'm the servant of God, but he's like
This is a very
not
biblical,
crazy about him.
biblical story.
Yeah,
Like
as the Spectre always is.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's all about like Vandal Savage is Cain, like from Cain and Abel from the Bible.
yeah,
And
which makes sense.
Renee has been investigating the cult of crime from 52. You remember that?
Yep.
And she like infiltrated as the Faceless. Like she was the
Mhm.
leader of the organization at one point.
Right.
She was prophesied to deliver the spear. So she's they find this spear, which is this huge artifact.
1 second. Did that start in 52? That whole story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the cult of crime.
So if you care about that, go back and read 52 if you haven't already.
52 best weekly series I think they've done. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Real good.
It's high quality.
Ending was kind of just a rush out thing,
Yeah.
but I mean all the stories in 52 are
You didn't
great.
like Mr. Mind? You didn't like that whole thing?
I said it was. I mean, I liked it. It was just rushed and had nothing to do with the rest of the series,
You're right.
except for the Booster Gold stuff.
I
And
like
as you
how
know, I
ridiculous
always
it
love
was.
Booster Gold
Yeah.
because even superheroes get thirsty.
So Dracola.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so apparently God has a spirit of vengeance
Mm-hmm.
and a spirit of mercy, which is
So,
in
yeah.
the body of a nun.
And so there's this spear, and with
Yeah.
this spear, Cain is able to pretty much subsume the world alongside.
Which this is called the spear of destiny.
Yeah.
It was the spear used to pierce Jesus' side when he was on the
Mhm.
cross.
and it's been used by Longinus.
Hitler.
Longinus used it first, and he used it to heal people. He used it for good. And then Hitler took it and
Yeah.
used it to turn allies into enemies and start World War II.
Yep.
And
All
then it was lost. So Renee's trying to steal it, and she's holding it, and the cult are like trying to get it from her. But the Spectre shows up and is like, Renee Montoya, your judgment is at hand. So, and he teleports her away, but the spear is dropped to the ground. So the cult gets the spear, they get it to Vandal Savage, who's Cain,
Mhm.
and he uses it to pretty much turn the world's population. Or was this alongside the anti-life equation?
Yeah.
So
He was like, it was prophesied that would happen,
Mhm.
that Darkseid would prevail.
Yeah, so he becomes one of like the top people in the new dark side religion and order.
Basically, since he's Cain, he will go with anything that's against God.
Mhm.
So if that means dark side is going to be the new God, then he's fine with that.
Yeah. So and the spear is, I guess the spear isn't what caused everyone to do that. It was the anti-life equation.
Yeah.
But the spear is, none of like the Spectre and Mercy, they can't affect it.
Right.
And they can't affect Libra because one of the things, Spectre starts doubting God a lot because he goes to judge Libra and it doesn't work on him. And so he's like, well, this guy's committed genocide. But I mean, God, you made me kill my own son, and I did it. So like, he's shook by all this, and like, it's testing him, and he doesn't want to be the Spectre anymore. He hates being the Spectre.
Yeah.
And
I like the end when he's like redeemed, you know.
Yeah. So they end up hiding in a church from all this. Renee, Mercy, and Spectre with some other people who weren't subsumed by the anti-life equation. And the Spirit of Mercy, she was from a nun who was murdered, and her murderers are in that church, spared, which is another plot point. Like, because Cain says, if you give me those murderers, I'll let you guys go free, and she says no, she won't do it.
Yep.
So
she's the Spirit of Mercy.
Yeah. And they almost got killed, but then Huntress showed up out of nowhere. Huntress Ex Machina.
She's always saving the day.
Yeah.
You know, like back in Batman Hush, she
Yeah.
saved Batman's butt there too.
Yeah.
So
she showed up, Renee and her, then come up with the bright idea. Yeah, we're going to go out there, we're going to beat him up. We're going to get the spear. And Hunter's like, yeah, how? And they're like, well, we'll figure it out as we go on.
Renee ends up sacrificing herself to get it.
Yeah, and another thing, Kate Kane has been subsumed by the anti-life equation.
Yeah. And
her and Catwoman are there with Kane. And they're kind of like...
Oh, were they?
Yeah, Catwoman was there. They were like all hanging all over him.
They're two of the Furies.
Yeah, but they were there too.
That's cool.
Yeah. So they're Huntress, and they like... Kane like gets beat back a little, and they're like fighting Kane and... Not Kane, Kate Kane, Batwoman, and Catwoman. Like, Huntress and Renee are both fighting them, and they're getting beat down. So yeah, Renee sacrifices herself because he stabs her with the spear, and the spear can also like shoot a death ray, but it doesn't affect her. It doesn't affect her for some reason. It does not affect Renee.
Oh man.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Spear can also shoot a death ray. So yeah, she gets stabbed, and she was like, yeah. She starts laughing, and Hunter's like, the plan worked, and he's like, what plan? I got the spear away from you, and those three murderers from before like run out and start beating the crap out of Kane, because he doesn't have the spear, and he's just a dude.
And so, while she's holding the spear, she uses it to undo Crispus Allen murdering his own son. And since she did that, instead of saving herself, because she was already bleeding out, that good act redeemed the spear, made it good.
And Spectre could use it.
Yes. And he
so
used
now
it
the
to defeat Kane.
Yeah, the Spectre now has the spear.
And now Vandal Savage has a visible mark of Kane on his face forever.
And people, like, as soon as they see that, are like...
They know who he is.
They know who he is. Like, they teleport him to some, like, village in Africa. And the village attacks him. Like, he immediately gets stuff thrown at him, and the warriors are coming at him with spears.
Yeah, so overall, that was a good story.
Yeah.
That was fun. I like the kind of, like...
Biblical?
Yeah, the biblical and magic type stuff. I like Brother Blood, and I like that kind of stuff, too. It's just something different, you know. So now we're to the Final Crisis Resist #1 one shot. And this is where we start getting the checkmate stuff. So the checkmate Arctic base is taken over by ICE, which is
Immigration.
Do you know fire?
Did you get that joke?
Yes. Fire. So she has a friend named Ice.
Okay. Is the ice not there?
I don't think so.
Is that ice? Or is that blue fire?
I don't. No, that's I don't remember her name, but she was in Identity Crisis.
There's T-Pain, White Knight.
Do you remember when she was hanging out with Ralph?
Yeah. Ralph
Yeah.
Dibny.
Yeah, it was. That's
R.I.P. Ralph Dibny.
her. For real. Gosh.
Yeah.
He's back in comics now.
He is?
Yeah.
Is he?
Well, you know how it ended with him being a ghost in 52.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's White Knight of Checkmate.
No, he's the White King.
I mean White King.
Yeah.
Not Knight.
Anyway.
I got Providence and Checkmate mixed up. Shout out if you get that reference.
Ice is corrupted by anti-life equation. And Sasha Bordeaux, which is, I explained that to you in the thing, right? Okay. She shuts down to avoid being taken over by the anti-life equation. You know how she could do that because she's an OMAC, kind of. At the same time, the anti-metagene virus was released, which like negates metahuman abilities, so it makes it easier for them to conquer the superheroes and get them on their side. Also, Snapper Carr destroys Darkseid's bioweapons, and I think in this story he's like an agent for Checkmate. There's nothing important there. So at this point, Darkseid has taken over the whole world, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just them left. They're the last.
All the cities and stuff, like everyone is in this new Darkseid society. Like we see later the Flash when he comes back, he's looking for Iris and all, and like she's walking down the street and you see cops. They're beating the crap out of people on the street just because, like, that's what it means to be anti-life. Hate everything, including ourselves.
So this small team that's left is Mr. Terrific, Snapper Carr, Talib Beni Khalid, which is the Black King.
Also, wait, no, continue.
Okay.
It's about Black Adam.
Cheetah, and the Thinker, and he's an AI.
Cheetah, wasn't she a villain?
Yeah.
But she's good now?
She's not good.
Suicide
she's
Squad?
Just with them.
Oh, she's just with them for this.
Well, I mean, you know, she doesn't want anti-life.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
She's just with them for this event. I thought she was like a member of Checkmate, and I was like, but didn't she?
No, she's not in Checkmate at all.
Then I was like, Suicide Squad?
No, she like Snapper Carr is
That's a question. Snapper Carr. Do they have the power to snap a car in half?
No. He can teleport.
Oh.
And so that's how they get in and out of the Arctic base, even though it's surrounded. And he teleports and finds Cheetah, and they bang, and it's magical.
Yeah, it would be. She was pretty hot.
And then Darkseid's minions break in, and he ports her out of there and saves her. So.
Good on you, Snapper Carr.
Yeah, for real. And the Thinker, he's White King's bishop. So he's an AI, like a super intelligent AI. Then what? Then Mr. Terrific reboots.
You don't get this.
What?
You said the Thinker.
Oh, the Thinker.
I'm doing the Thinker pose.
Yeah. Not that Thinker. He reboots Sasha. They're also dating, if you didn't know.
She's dating a computer?
No, she's dating Mr. Terrific.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need to read Checkmate.
You should.
Yeah.
You would love it. So he reboots her to get the Go code, which is something that will reactivate all OMAC nanobots. And as a result of Infinite Crisis, you remember how everybody was affected by the OMACs, or a lot of people were? Those nanobots are still in those people. They're just like dormant.
So they're reactivating them.
He's gonna reactivate them to use them to defeat
Yeah.
the anti-life affected people. Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but doing this at the same time is also gonna make Sasha, continue with the anti-life equation, and it's gonna, infect her. So, right after this, he uses the when he gets the Go code, he uses the rogue AIs in the code zoo to distribute the code. The code zoo is just a prison for evil AIs.
Gotcha.
Which I think the Thinker came out of, but they're using him.
Yeah.
So he uses them. He's like, hey, you're gonna die anyway, if you don't help us defeat Darkseid. So we need you to distribute this code, so we can get the 11 million people. And what I was confused about is these Omacs are definitely killing innocent people that are infected by the anti-life equation. Mr. Holt. But yeah, really cool concept though.
Yeah.
It was cool. Then right after this is called Final Crisis Submit. So we got Resist and then Submit.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is about the tattooed man who has these...
I read this. This was in my printing of Final Crisis on Hoopla.
This was?
The Submit was.
But not Resist.
I don't think Resist was in there.
I find that hard to believe. They go together, I think. Don't they?
I'm gonna look.
No, they don't. They don't go together.
It
sounds like they would, but they don't. Yeah, so it's like, it shows the tattooed man and his family. They're holed up in a school, hiding out from all the people infected. And the wife secretly sends out an SOS. Black Lightning receives it, and he comes to help them. They have this whole argument. Tattooed Man doesn't want to leave.
And he hates superheroes.
Yeah, he really hates superheroes. But the group leaves eventually because he said, if I can find you, they can find you.
Yeah, and he busts them out of there on a school bus. And
so you did read this. You totally read it. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Resist isn't in there.
That's weird.
It's Superman Beyond.
They're not really related, I guess.
Yeah, Superman Beyond and then Submit.
Okay. But basically, to let them get away, Black Lightning sacrifices himself to the people infected by anti-life equation and becomes one of them. But before he does that, he shows this circuit drawn on his hand to Tattooed Man, and the Tattooed Man will eventually, tattoo that to his face, and it looks like Metron's stuff on his face.
The circuit.
Yeah. So now he has that, and now we're gonna jump into Final Crisis number 4. So we're halfway done almost with the Final Crisis main stuff. We're well into this book, though. Get the Revelation stuff. Can you find that for me?
Yeah.
So the Ray. I don't remember the
What am I
kid's
looking
name.
for again?
Number 4.
Issue 4.
Yeah, it should be right after Submit. So Ray meets up with Green Arrow in the Hall of Justice. He's holed up in there with Black Canary and Iris, and I don't remember who else. Someone's there too.
Had to make a pit stop.
Huh?
Had to make a pit stop.
Nice. Nice. He was showing me the banging scene again. Yeah, I hate that issue wasn't in there, Wyatt.
Yeah, darn it. You should put that on my list.
Dang.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha.
So the anti-life equation is being broadcast, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
that's where it begins.
I guess Barbara couldn't stop it, even though she shut down the internet.
Yep, it went through anyway, apparently.
Glorious Godfrey is trying to bring about Darkseid's incarnation in Turpin's body. So that's the thing. I don't know, I thought I'd get a reaction out of you from that. It's ridiculous. But Ray is able to link up with Mr. Terrific via the Internet.
Yes.
The Internet. You didn't know about the Internet?
Internet. Da.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Internet.
Apparently,
Supervillain Internet.
Apparently, they have a secret informant in Libra's secret thing. Secret society.
It's a. Oh, we'll wait.
Okay. At the same time, there's a resistance being led by Checkmate and Alan Scott. And there's 6 watchtowers in Switzerland: the Hall of Justice, the Fortress of Solitude, Gorilla City, Superbia, and the Great Wall.
And Checkmate Castle.
Yeah, Switzerland.
Oh.
It's in Switzerland.
Gotcha. Yeah, and the castle is pretty much there, like, they're making a lot of noise, drawing the main forces of Darkseid to them.
Yeah.
So the other watchtowers can, like, hold on.
Apparently Superbia is a mobile city-state, so it's like a floating country. Yeah, I didn't know that. I've never even heard of it. But we know that Bloodhaven is the new god's entry point. That's where all of this is going down. The tattooed man carries Black Lightning's circuit tattooed on his skin. I wrote down it looks like Metron.
Yeah.
I think it is. And Canary and the others escape to the Watchtower, the satellite. And I think, Ollie stays behind to, like, draw their fire so they can escape.
He tells Canary, he's like, "Don't worry, babe. I'll just use my anti-life arrow."
Yeah. You know, got plenty of those.
Yeah.
And he gets infected. He gets the helmet put on him. So him and Black Lightning are both leading the charge to get them at the Watchtower, which is cool. During all this, Iris gets affected by the anti-life equation, and Barry kisses it away with the Speed Force. So a lot of romantic, life-saving kisses here.
Yep.
It's getting kind of cheesy in here, Mr. Morrison. And in this issue, they show that it's raining blood.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Guys.
Just raining blood. Watch out for that.
Man, I'm really thirsty.
There's a lot of weird stuff in here.
Well, I mean, it's literally the tagline is "Darkseid is bringing hell on Earth."
Yeah, true. But at the very end of the issue, Turpin, he's trying to fight Darkseid, but he's Darkseid.
Yeah.
How are you going to beat Darkseid? He gives in, and Darkseid is now.
Yeah, they captured They captured Batman. They're like, "Why didn't you use Batman?" And he's like, "Yeah, he has a very strong will."
Yeah, it's like he would have resisted too
Yeah.
much. That would have taken too long.
Maybe it wouldn't have worked. You know why?
He wouldn't have said that.
Because he's Batman.
He wouldn't have said that, though.
Yeah. I don't think it would work.
So right after that, we can just jump into number 5. Hal Jordan is being tried for the murder of Orion. And Kraken is accusing him of being possessed by a god from Apocalypse, when she is.
Yeah, but thank goodness for Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner, because they show up and they just immediately know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, they look at Hal for a second. It's like the guardians of the entire Green Lantern Corps. They're looking at the same thing they are. They walk in, dude, he's got a chip in his head that's suppressing his memories, and she's possessed.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up, and the Guardians are like,
"Oh, you're right.
Wow, you're very perceptive, Gardner."
Well, it didn't go where I thought it was going, because, like, Kraken didn't deny it or anything.
Yeah,
she totally could have denied it and played it off, and I think it would have worked.
Because they're
But
like,
instead she reveals herself.
because the Guardians are like, Gardner, Alpha Lanterns are infallible. And because she immediately goes because they're having this trial right next to the Battery of Power.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm going for it," and And Hal stops her without a power ring.
Yeah.
And
were you thinking that too? That she totally could have pulled it off though?
yeah, yeah. Like
I don't know.
immediately after they say that, she's like, "Oh well, gig's up."
And she fatally injures the Guardian in the process too. So.
And so they capture her, and like Hal restrains her, and then the remaining Guardians are like, "Well, Hal, you have 24 hours to save the universe.
Yep.
Good luck."
So they're gonna head to Earth.
Yeah, like him and a whole bunch of Green Lanterns are on the way.
Another thing they established in this issue is that the War of the New Gods, like the war in heaven that happened before this event started, it broke time and space, which means that the space-time around Earth has been crumpled, and weeks have been turned into days. So like time's all messed up, and it's all happening so fast.
It's all wibbly wobbly and timey wimey and stuff.
It's like Darkseid's pulling the Earth into darkness faster than he should be able to, you know. So it's kind of hard to find him. And he's trying to bring about the fifth world.
Yeah.
You know how it's called the fourth world? This will be the fifth world.
Yeah.
Another reference from Grant Morrison. So there's a team of superheroes trying to bring down the stronghold in Bloodhaven. I don't remember who else in there.
It's
I know Jon
a
Stewart's
whole
in it.
bunch of people. Like it's like a full-on last-ditch assault. Like they have different fronts. Like there's people holding the bridge of Bloodhaven, or trying to break through, and then there's people attacking the thing itself. And there's that one tiger guy who's like British. And like you know,
Tawny?
Yeah, Tawny shows up, and Tawny just chomps the crap out of Darkseid's son, who's inside that other tiger guy, and he kills him. But he's standing there, and all the
other tigers.
There's a whole bunch of tiger people that are like subservient to them, and he's like straightening his bow tie. He's like, "Well, gents, do your worst," and then they all bow to him because I mean he killed their previous leader, so that means he's down their leader.
That's a cool find.
Yeah. That's such a weird dude. Suit, bow tie, jetpack, and gun.
He's always been like that.
It's so strange.
He's a Shazam character. It's pretty cool.
And Shazam is always goofy.
Yeah. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's a fun comic.
I need to watch the Shazam movie, though.
Oh, it's a good movie.
Say my name.
I mean, Tawny's not in it.
Yeah.
But
Say my name. Shazam.
Shazam.
Really? Do not interrupt.
So during all this, Nick Woden, the banished Guardian, he is thrown into a room of people who they haven't been able to convert him yet.
Yeah, so they're gonna experiment on them to figure out why.
And in this room are some guy in a wheelchair and a monkey. And I think the monkey is Mr. Stubbs.
Not Detective Chimp?
Not Detective Chimp.
There's a disturbing lack of Detective Chimp in this story,
right?
Grant Morrison. I love Detective Chimp.
Was he not in the story at all?
I don't think so.
I thought I remembered him being in there, but maybe not.
It was Dr. Fate.
Yeah, Dr. Fate wasn't in here either.
Grant Morrison just doesn't like the Mystics. Zatanna. She was in there like when they're doing a tour of Checkmate. Yeah, she's trying to talk to God.
But the cool thing is, the guy in the wheelchair is trying to solve a Rubik's Cube, and Stubbs is talking about it. He mentions a thing called the number of God, which is the minimum number, the maximum number of moves required. The minimum number of moves required to solve a Rubik's Cube, which is 18. And the guy solves it in 17. And
then when he does that, he breaks reality. And
the Rubik's Cube pings.
Yeah.
Which means it's a mother box now.
Yeah.
And
so, kids, if you want to create a mother box and start boom tubing around, if you can solve a Rubik's Cube in 17 moves, you're good.
Which I don't know how that works. Like, when is a Rubik's Cube really mixed? You know, how many times do you have to mess with it to make it mixed? But whatever, that's just me. And Libra thinks that the calculator is the one who's been outing him and giving information to the enemy.
So he hangs him.
He hangs him, yeah.
And this is one of my favorite parts of the book. Is Dr. Savannah, that's it. And Lex Luthor are there, and Lex is like, so, what you got? This watch I've got, it'll jam their signal. And Lex is like, good. They just let me charge my war suit for the coming battle.
Yeah, so the anti-life helmets don't work.
So Lex Luthor turns around and just ganks Libra with like a burst of power, and then they have pretty much control over the entire army that they have, because you speak into here and it's Darkseid's voice to all of them.
He basically hands him the microphone to control everybody.
And he says, don't yell or you'll break it.
So the Green Lanterns are on their way.
They're following, like, cause
do they wait until 7 to show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't show up until the very end.
Yes, we got 2 more issues left. And Darkseid reveals himself, like in a body, and Nick's Woden is back, like full powered.
Yep.
Now we're going to Batman 682, and this is like just an exploration of Batman's memories.
So it's kind of like it starts with him first becoming Batman and Alfred, and how he has troubles with maintaining relationships with girls, because like it shows Alfred's like, terribly sorry, ma'am, but Master Bruce had to cancel. And like you see Bruce like tied up upside down in the supervillain's lair,
hanging over a vat of acid or something.
And she finally says, I'm going to LA, and leaves. And Bruce is like, yeah, no more relationships.
It was better that way.
He's like, Bruce is just like, yeah, I'm just going for flings now, Alfred.
Yeah.
He's a hit it and quit it man now.
But like the whole time they're showing you Batman's memories, you got to remember that he's being duplicated into an army for Darkseid. So they're trying to make an army of Batman.
Yeah, because Batman, as you know, he's got a lot of willpower and he's been shaped by all this trauma. But Batman knows that the lump is there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And Simeon and Mockery are the ones trying to do this, and they mention it briefly in Final Crisis number 5. Godfrey's like, yeah, they tried to make you a Batman army and it failed.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, I feel like this should have came before number 5.
It was in my reading list.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was first?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it wasn't in this book, I don't think.
That's a new fun the book.
Anyway, they're going through all of his memories using the lump, and the lump is just, can you get me a picture of that?
Yes.
Just, he looks like the Thing, or Clayface. It's like that kind of looking thing.
It's like a blob.
Yeah, but he only has power in the mind, not in a physical form. So,
like here.
He's just sitting there in a chair.
This is the lump.
The lump.
And it's only when the mind is asleep.
You got it?
It's a big book, man.
It is a big book. Yeah, so the lump is like connected to Batman's mind, and he's stealing the memories of Batman.
And the whole time that they're doing this, they try different things. They're like, how does he know? Like he's not supposed to know that they're rooting around his mind. He does every step of the way. And he at one point he turns his memories into weapons. Like he starts controlling the memories, and like the clones that are like connected to his memories that are trying to like be shaped by his experiences, they all start like convulsing and dying because they can't take it.
Yeah, they can't handle all of Batman's tragedy.
So they're like, well, this idea blows, and they go to kill the lump because they're just gonna cut it off because it's not working. But then
the cool thing about the lump is he takes the shape of Alfred, and that's how he's trying to get everything out of him. He uses the one that he trusts the most.
Yeah, out of there's security clearance in the Batcave, and the highest security clearance, none of the Robins have it. Only Alfred and Batman have it.
Yeah. Did you notice how 682, the little title on the front, the first page on the inside, it's called The Butler Did It?
Yeah. I noticed that.
Cut to 683. Batman starts experiencing false memories. So Mockery and Simeon are trying to distract him while they extract the real memories.
Yeah, they remember that Alfred wrote a story of if Batman never became Batman, like if Thomas and Martha Wayne never died.
Yeah.
And
he's a doctor.
Yeah. And he gets totally, like, he's examining a woman's arm, and she goes, "I'm gonna give you my number." And he's like, "Okay." And then cuts to him in his office, and his dad's like yelling at him, "That was Selena Kyle. She stole your money, your keys while you were examining her arm. You're already a laughing stock, Bruce."
So going through all this, Batman's slowly fighting back. And like you said, the copies can't handle his experiences. It's too painful. And Batman faces off with the lump.
And he pretty much convinces the lump to be on his side.
Yeah. Because Mockery kills the lump. He's like, you know what? Cut the cord.
Yeah.
Killed the lump.
And then the lump gets out of the chair and goes ham.
Yeah,
They run, and they don't even, like, Batman gets out, and he's like, "Man, they really suck at this. Like, here's my utility belt. Oh, guess what's in here? The god-killing bullets. Oh, and here's a gun that'll fit it."
I wrote down this hilarious quote from Mockery.
Yeah.
They're pulling the plug and they're leaving. They're trying to get out of there before Batman wakes up, and he's like, "What kind of man can turn even his life memories into a weapon?"
Yeah.
That's like, dang. That's Batman.
Yeah.
So they try to seal off the lab with him in it. And they run over the lump with a bulldozer. That was funny.
Yeah.
He kind of like splats into a bunch of mud. I wrote down Alfred's monologue is so cool. I don't remember what the monologue was.
Have no fear.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll wait on you to find that, because that's what I'm ending Batman on.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Was it about him becoming a bat and everything?
Till then, Batman's biggest theory was the classic whodunit, only it's not about who killed Batman, but who kept him alive all these years. And he stopped there, leaving the rest to me. The whereabouts of Batman remain unknown, and yet I can see him now in the grip of implacable forces, innumerable foes, somewhere without hope, in a place where all seems lost. And I know this. The enemy will look away for just a minute, underestimating him for that single fraction of a second too long. And no matter how dark the night, there will be no hiding place.
Oh, yeah. So, like, Alfred's pretty much talking about how cool Batman is, and
which I love. Everyone loves how cool Batman is.
And how he knows that the gods will underestimate him because
and
he's just a
do
man.
they?
Because he's just a man, and it says evil will have no hiding place from him.
And boy, is he right.
That was a cool monologue.
Because next issue, we get the most badass moment Batman will probably ever have.
You mean 7?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't 6. You're right. That wasn't 6. Alright, so number 6. Brainiac 5 and Superman are in the 31st century, and he shows him something called the Miracle Machine.
It takes thoughts and makes whatever you think, and they hit it because you could think of a new universe entirely and it'll create it, and that's dangerous. So
yeah, and it was so powerful that they hit it in this, like, the hardest, densest substance in all existence, which is inertron. So I got a quote from Brainiac. In 2960, the controllers discovered a way to refine Guardian's will-powered technology to create the final machine, the ultimate technological artifact. So that's what this is. It's got the willpower technology from the Guardians. Um, so keep that in mind. Then we get a cool fight between Mary Marvel and Supergirl.
Yep, and it is real catfight hours. Mary Marvel's calling Supergirl a slut.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And so apparently that right there is not Shazam.
Mm.
It's Captain Marvel Jr. Um,
And he does the thing that they did against Black Adam in 52.
yeah, he grabs
her,
her, and
says his
Shazam.
magic word, and the lightning comes in and transforms her back to Mary. Also, a question, because Black Adam is here. Did he find out what his new magic word was from 52?
I guess he did, yeah.
Well, do you know what it is? Because I've always wondered that.
Oh, no, I don't know.
I'm going to Google that. Here, hold this.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder
Yeah.
where that happened. We already talked about the Tigers. So, Green Arrow and Black Lightning, they are affected by the anti-life equation. And they're trying to convert the rest of the people in the Watchtower, which is like Black Canary and I think the Flash's wife and his two kids. I feel like there was someone else there, but I don't remember. Oh, and Tattooed Man, he's there too. They try to convert Tattooed Man, but he can't be affected because he has that circuit tattooed on his face. And then we've got something called the Omega Offensive, which is where Checkmate plans to port to a parallel universe, if all else fails, using what's called Lord Eye. So apparently it's Brother Eye, but Lord. Which is ironic because isn't the reason Checkmate was disbanded because of Maxwell Lord?
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Also,
Did you find it?
yep.
What is it?
Chocolate egg creams.
He would have never guessed that.
Apparently he did. Like, okay, since the image isn't working, the new magic word is chocolate
did
egg
that
creams.
happen, though?
I'm serious. I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't say?
It just said it was revealed.
Because I want to read it.
Me too. He's just like, ugh. Like he's just
Chocolate
walking.
egg creams.
He's walking through a supermarket and he's like, chocolate egg creams. Like in the middle of Walmart. It just
Turns into the Rock.
yeah.
Oh.
I gotta get back to Condog.
Alright. So, like you said, Dr. Savannah jammed the helmets. Luther killed Libra. And Barry and Wally are planning to lead the Black Racer to Darkseid to take him out.
And before,
Meanwhile, Batman converts Darkseid.
yeah,
And confronts him.
the badass moment revealed. Batman walks up. He says, "You know, I have a solemn vow against using firearms, but for you, I'll make a once-in-a-lifetime exception."
Yep.
And Batman, straight, normal human, shoots a god and mortally wounds him.
Yep. Same bullet that killed Orion.
Yep.
And Batman gets zapped by the Omega beams.
Yeah, he even says, Batman says...
Let's show that.
Yeah, he probably need to show that. Batman says shooting Orion is the worst decision you've ever made. And we also find out from this confrontation, the whole reason Darkseid is doing this is because he's already dying. Because when he fought Orion, like, mortally wounded him too. So he's pretty much just doing this to save himself, like, to try and rebuild his body and whatnot.
Boom. It's a funny page.
Yeah. This is a cluster chuck of a page right here. I remember.
Oh yeah, trying to read it.
I remember
in
trying to
order?
read that on my phone.
Just don't try.
Yeah.
Oh, on your phone. I
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Oh gosh. I'm sorry.
It was my fault. You gave me an actual
I did.
I didn't. I forgot.
Who needs physical copies anymore? Just read on my phone. And Superman flies in and he's holding Batman's fried body.
Yeah. R.I.P. Batman.
Man, these last pages are always so cool.
Mm-hmm. The last issue was kind of jumpy.
I feel like he could have done well
Yeah,
to do
because
it
I
in
mean,
8.
it's saying all this stuff, but then it like transforms and Wonder Woman's there telling a story to kids, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
It was just completely out of nowhere, and I didn't like that.
Well, I didn't mind her like telling the story of
It was
what
just
happened.
so sudden.
I just feel like they had too many loose ends to
Yeah.
wrap up that they should have done it in 8.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they needed another issue. But it starts out with Superman and Wonder Woman from another Earth using the Wonder Horn to call forth a ship, which is the ultimate tool.
Yep, and Renee Montoya is the Galactic Peace Agent.
Yeah.
And she was given a mission by Checkmate to go and collect all the Supermen from all the multiverses and bring them in as the cavalry. But she really didn't need to do that. Kind of unnecessary. Because, I mean, he already won by the time they got there.
Superman confronts Darkseid, tries to fight him, but Darkseid is every person on Earth, pretty much.
And he's like, 1 billion hands will strike you.
Yeah.
But then, Lex Luthor shows up.
I love how he says he can't be killed unless you kill billions of people.
Yeah. But then Lex shows up. And I love how Superman's like, well, Lex, and Lex goes, not one word, Superman.
We ally this one time.
Yeah. We ally this once, and we tell everyone you weren't here. I get the credit for this.
Right after Darkseid says that he can't be killed, Wally and Barry lead the Black Racer to it.
Yeah.
And the Black Racer kills Darkseid.
Yeah.
But not before Darkseid fires the bullet to kill Orion. Which, when you think about it, if he doesn't fire that bullet, he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So, like, he
Killed
knew,
himself.
He knew, but he was gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. That's how evil he is.
Yeah.
Really wanted to kill Orion, his own son.
I wrote down some quotes in here. I'm liking it. Darkseid says, "From here, where he no longer exists, Orion cannot see me." Right?
Can I read the quotes?
It's right there.
Gotcha. From here, where he no longer exists, Orion cannot see me. As all time becomes one time, the time has come to strike.
That's beautifully written.
Yeah. Beautifully read.
Yeah. So Superman, Luthor, and Dr. Sivana, and a bunch of others working to build a computer to calculate the life equation and broadcast it. Mr. Miracle uses a mother box to secure a boom tube connection. What wasn't it, between our world and another
I think so, yeah.
universe? And they showed a shot of the world being on like this one little ship or something, and like the whole human race was frozen in ice cube trays.
Yeah. That was when Wonder Woman was telling the story. She's like, then everyone went into ice.
Yep.
And I was like, that made no sense to me.
You know the page that didn't make much sense? Did you see the panel where Mr. Terrific was like, why is it so cold? What? And then it goes blue? Like that was him being frozen into the ice cubes and shrunk. Yeah.
I didn't like that.
I know. I really didn't understand like what the state of the universe was at that point. Like, did we win or not?
Yeah.
Like, did we have to escape to somewhere, or is it okay?
Because it was failing, like their whole gambit.
And Superman had that miracle machine. Like, didn't he just fix it?
Yeah. That, I mean, there were so many loose ends. We don't know. You're right.
So Luthor leads the charge against the people possessed.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman gets snapped out of it. And she lassos some possessed people. And
The lasso of truth kind of breaks it, doesn't it?
yeah, they say her lasso chained the god of evil.
Mm-hmm.
So Superman, he didn't actually have the real miracle machine from Brainiac 5. He had to memorize it by looking at it for 5
for like
seconds.
5 seconds.
I guess he does have super memory.
Yeah, he's Superman, so
Super photographic memory.
Yep. It reminds me of, remember in Deadpool 2 with the X-Force, that one alien guy? I'm like a human, but just better in every way.
So Mandrake is back. He's gonna beat him the second time. Mandrake tries to stop him from building the miracle machine, having drained all light around the machine.
And I love this part because then one of the monitor people shows up. Like, what's their name?
Which one?
Like the one who shows up there in the battle with Mandrake and
Nick Suoden, the kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick Suoden.
He goes to confront his dad.
Yeah.
I was about to get to that.
Oh, but this
The perfect timing.
I wanted to get to this quote though. So he brings in a bunch of other superheroes from the super young team. They come in. That's who Nick Suoden brings in, and they help. But then he's like, "Oh, this ain't even all of them. You think, but still the chant grows stronger. Can you hear? Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light!" And all the Green Lanterns bust in.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, they've been falling for 2 issues. Like Grant Morrison.
And Mandrake had the shadow demons in here too.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Mm-hmm. And so Green Lanterns arrive after falling for 2 issues. Grant Morrison really wanted to set this awesome moment up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're...
You're off screen.
I'm on screen, sorry. But they needed to... Their power rings are like on low charge, so they all like form together for this one attack. And since Mandrake is like a vampire, they use their willpower to form a giant wooden stake and stab him.
Mm-hmm. Did you remember the part where
Right there.
Mandrake says, "You can't use the machine because I've drained all the light around it"? And
Yeah.
Superman's like, "I store solar energy."
Yeah. You dumb.
And he turns into the sun.
Yeah.
Kind of.
For a second there, he went full sun.
Full sun. So after all this is done, Mandrake's defeated. Nick Suoden gives an account of what happened to the monitors.
And
the other monitors.
He tells all the monitors we should stop affecting the worlds and stuff. Like, we should just stay out of it.
Yeah. He's like, we only make it worse.
Yeah, because these guys are great people.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, they're super passionate, hard workers, and they have good in them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's just stay out of it from now on.
And as a result of all of this, the new gods are back, like the good ones. And Nick Suoden talks to Weechadale, which is like his girlfriend, for the last time as the monitors cease to exist. The whole race ceases to exist. And then, I mean, he expected to just not be there anymore and not be a thing, but then it shows him waking up on Earth in a human body. So that was cool. So we haven't seen the last of him. And I think we'll get to see him again in Multiversity. So, you know, eventually we could do a re-and-tell on that.
Perhaps.
But then, like I said, it comes full circle. It starts with Anthro, it ends with Anthro.
Because Batman ain't dead.
Yep, he's just alive in the distant past.
Yeah, like apparently the Omega Beam just sent him back.
Yeah.
And he like leaves a recording, like he's forgetting things though, but he leaves a recording like of him monologuing and saying like all he went through. Like it's from his point of view from when he was confronting Kraken, like during the investigation and got captured, throughout when they were attacking his memory as to when he finally shoots Darkseid again. And then he's like you said, back in the past, and Anthropo is there. And Batman records it, he sets it down, and he paints a Batman signal.
Yeah.
So he's like, alright guys, if you can use your time travel stuff to come get me, I'd be grateful.
So yeah, that's the end of Final Crisis number 7,
Mhm.
and I've got like 2 other issues here we can talk about.
I mean,
right
I
quick.
just described the last Batman 702.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can kind of.
And in Superman Batman 76,
Mhm.
they have a funeral for Batman, and it's like led by Dick Grayson, and he's like, yeah, he would want to be buried here with his family and everything, so they bury him. And Dick,
Was this like a public funeral?
No,
Because I mean,
no.
I hope not. Because
it wasn't.
there's this secret identity for everyone.
Just family.
Was Damian and all them there?
Yeah, all the Robins and Superman, I think. Yeah, I think like the whole Justice League was there, but there were no costumes, and they couldn't bring like their loved ones with them. It's just them.
It's just them.
And then Dick Grayson takes up the mantle of Batman. And
is this when there a run of Batman and Robin? Where
It'll be
Damian
in Batman Volume 2, which I'll get. I think it comes out next week, so we can read that soon.
I'd probably do want to read that because I've heard that the dynamic between Dick and Damian's pretty good.
It's supposed to be really good. So Dick takes up the mantle of Batman, and Clark is angry about it at first. He doesn't like it. He's like, this is morbid. You need to stop. You can remember him, but not, do this. Which, I mean, fair point. But he's like, no, if we allow the criminals to think that he's dead, then everything he stood for will be washed away. Like all of that effort and time he put in will be for nothing. So he kind of warms up to the idea of Dick being the new Batman. He's like, hey, I'm not doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because...
Dick really does not want to be Batman.
I'm doing this because people need Batman. Like, he needs to be
He's a symbol.
Yeah. Yep.
Because, I mean, I know, probably the most I know about comics is Batman and Bat Family stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that Dick, he doesn't like taking up the mantle of Batman.
Yeah, right. He wants to be Nightwing. He wants to be his own thing.
He wants to be his own thing. He's always, that's why he left, to get out of Batman's shadow.
I can't get this shot.
Darn it.
Okay. You're going to bust it.
Well, no, I was going to pull the paper out because I'm pretty sure that was the problem.
So, at this point, Batman is stranded in time. I think the omnibus will lead with the return of Bruce Wayne, which is him going through. At one point, he's a pirate and all kinds of different things.
That's cool.
But
he was like a real pirate? Weren't they criminals?
Yeah,
I don't think Batman.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Is he a privateer?
You know what I mean.
Is he in the Navy?
I don't know. I haven't read it. Okay, so that's Final Crisis. Hope you guys have fun, enjoyed. I definitely recommend the book. It's a really fun read.
Yeah,
I would recommend. You don't have to take a bunch of notes like I did, but like kind of pace it out a little bit.
Don't do what I did.
Don't do what Wyatt did. He always crams.
I went from. Hold on, let me bring up my read list. I went from today. I started at Revelations and went all the way through Final Crisis 4 through 7. Batman 682, 683, and 702. So all in all, like 12 issues. Wait, no, I think I read Superman Beyond today too. So yeah, good.
Those
12,
Superman
13
Beyond
issues.
ones were a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Like that was a lot of high concepts. And it gets kind of complicated there, but it's really comic booky.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about Grant Morrison, but he loves the medium of comics, and he loves to tell stories that are out there, and it's fun. Like it's fun to read them.
Well, that about wraps up Final Crisis. It's been a long journey covering all these crisis events with my good friend Riley here. We'll have to find another super long episode series that we can do.
I would like to do Flashpoint at some time, but like I feel like they're gonna put out an omnibus of that.
So you're gonna wait for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Riley loves
Get
his
all the
stuff in
stuff.
omnibuses.
Man, dude, they're fun. They just put out a Blackest Night omnibus. I want to get that.
I like Green Lantern.
I like Blackest Night. It's a fun story. But But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. This is the end of the CHIMICRISIS. This is the final CHIMICRISIS.
Yeah.
Um,
Through ups and downs.
my plan is to like make my way through the X-Men stuff, but I'm gonna be kind of do that at my own pace. I'm not gonna like make a schedule or anything, but I will put out short videos talking about them.
And I'm not as big into X-Men stuff. You might want to see if Tanner will do that, because he's a pretty big X-Men fan, isn't he?
Yeah, I can see if he's interested.
Let him take over the mantle of
Pass the torch.
pass the torch. Because these event stuff, it's
Well,
a
like-
lot.
Like, oh yeah. Well, like I have 2 shelves of X-Men,
Dude.
and I really want to get through it, especially because Jonathan Hickman is writing X-Men now, and he's supposed to like change up the whole X-Men thing. Like this is gonna be the next big thing, so I really want to read that stuff.
Mhm.
So
Well, there's some future plans for the channel
Yeah.
now that we're done with CHIMICRISIS. It's been a journey. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for joining in with me and Riley as we go through all this.
we have shorter videos, our
Yeah.
read and tell, if you would rather get a more bite-sized
Yeah.
type of thing. They're still kind of long, but they're a lot shorter than this.
We've gotten better. I mean, our first video we ever recorded was Hush, and we lost audio on it because we recorded
It
too
was so
long.
yeah.
I was getting way too into the details.
Yeah.
5th and 6th vertebrae, Riley.
Oh my gosh. Wasn't it the 5th and 6th? Who cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
This was actually pretty fast, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, not really, but this is a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, I felt like this was a lot easier it was a lot shorter to read than 52, but I like 52 more.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is CHIMICOMICS signing off. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment below.
See you guys.